Taking really excellent care of your body as a woman in this day and age can really feel like a full-time job. And I actually think that when you are going through the first 5 to 7 years of trauma healing and bringing feminine vitality back into your body, learning about your hormones, your cycle, how to take care of yourself, it actually is a full-time job. And one of the things that actually really negatively impacted me was this belief that it only felt like a full-time job because I was missing something or I wasn't doing something right or I had missed a certain hack, when in reality, no, it's really hard. It is a lot of work learning how to cook for your body as a woman, learning how to discern intuition from anxiety, learning how to not be afraid of pain or symptoms in your body, learning how to actually tap into oxytocin, learning how to develop the capacity for safe relationships, thawing the freeze in your body from probably having a lot of chronic internalized shame just around being a cyclical being. Something as simple as realizing that a lot of women have a lot of bracing in their body when it comes to being on their bleed, because this is something that is a little bit taboo still, or at least for me, I did not have a great first period experience. And that is something that stayed in my body for a long time. And I quite literally had a lot of collapse when it came to just my inherent cyclical nature as a woman. And I never learned how to take care of my body properly until I was kind of in my mid-20s. And I share this from this place of, number one, being really real. And this is something I've just started to talk a lot more about lately, because I think that this idea that, oh, if you just change a couple of little things and you just find this hack that your health is going to be amazing automatically. No, there are some women who, and men as well, who are not as symptomatic, or their dysregulation maybe is not quote unquote so deep. And so they can make a couple of changes and their health really transforms. And there is, I would say, the majority of humans, especially if you are like me, where maybe you've had more of a symptomatic nervous system, you're very sensitive, if you identify with being neurodivergent, where the pace of healing that is actually going to restore physiological coherence and homeostasis to your body takes years. And actually trying to do it all at once is reinforcing the dominant all or nothing perfectionism-based imprint that your nervous system has learned to help you survive, which is based on a lot of compensations and rigidity and intensity in your nervous system. And that is actually one of the main core imprints that we want to be able to experience some resolution around, so that your system actually feels safe in the absence of intensity and is not anymore completely addicted to intensity. And so this is why things take time. And because you can approach it in this way where things take time, you actually see sustained changes a lot faster. And I'm just making this video as I'm making lunch right now. And I just kind of had this moment where I'm like, I literally made a beef stew for breakfast. I'm making a lamb, sweet potato, onion, and mushroom hodgepodge bowl for my lunch. And then I'm going to make salmon and coconut rice for my dinner. And I'm like, this is a lot of work. On top of that, I got up this morning and I went outside for 5 minutes in Canadian winter to make sure I got light in my eyes. I had really good quality spring water with Celtic salt. First thing in the morning, I had my coffee. After I ate breakfast, I went out for a little walk and I did some movement. These are habits and a lifestyle that has taken me 6 years to develop. And it's a lot of effort. And I want to acknowledge that. This is also why, side note, the times that households have been, I think, the most functional has been either when we have lived in villages where it was not everybody's job to cook, it was some people's jobs and other people had other jobs, or we had the man going out to make money and the woman staying at home, which for me, there's aspects of that I totally vibe with, aspects of it that I don't. And so I also just want to normalize that if you were doing this alone or you just feel like it's a lot of work for you, it is. Which is also why you cannot heal and you cannot stay in the same environment and life. You need to actually develop healthy codependence on your partner, your spouse, friends. You need to also be really real. For me, for example, something I accepted very early on in my healing journey is I like a bougie lifestyle and I want a lot of support. So I figured out, how the fuck do I make money? How do I make enough money that I can actually access the level of support that I want within the existing structures that we have? And this is also why I'm not a huge fan of obsessing over how evil capitalism is or this or that, because it actually keeps people over attuned to the threat and how disempowered they are. I would rather help people improve their existing standards of living based on the systems that we have in place. And this, in my opinion, is also how we actually change systems, is people who have more resources that are using them in better ways, to heal themselves and help their families and their partners and their communities. All of this to say, the amount of things and way that I live in my day-to-day life now that allows me to experience good health, resiliency, mental clarity, access to creativity, a connection to my feminine essence, a healthy pelvic floor, all of that stuff has taken me years to get there, but now it is autonomic. It is something that is in my nervous system. It is just the way of life. And so while yes, aspects of this are a lot of effort, it is now just the norm for me. And so it felt like this massive full-time job for many years, to be totally honest with you. And I also think we're at a point in time where the people that are doing the deeper healing work are healing multi-generations of nutrient deficiency, emotional dysregulation, emotional suppression, a lot of internalized toxic shame, so on and so forth, a lot of immune issues. And so I really believe it does take a few years of titrated lifestyle shifts to get to the point where it becomes autonomic. And I think that it's so important to have this context, because the idea of a 30-day nervous system reset or taking 21 days to develop a new habit, aspects of that can be really good, I think, after you have more coherence and homeostasis in your nervous system. But before that, it often just presses on this all or nothing way that our nervous system has learned to move through the world, and actually keeps a lot of rigidity in the body, because it's like, okay, I'm going to go balls to the wall and I'm going to change my entire life tomorrow. And that is unsustainable. That is supposed to be a temporary stress response for a reason. It is not supposed to be something that actually shifts your identity, your sense of self, the way your immune system responds to the world. That shit honestly takes time. It takes nourishment. It takes the ability for your body on a physiological, mental, emotional, spiritual, and psychological level to be receptive to nutrients, receptive to nourishment. And then that changes the type of outputs that you can do, but it does take time. You need support. I really believe there is so much that we do have to do independently and in our own shit. Like, you're the only person that's going to be in your body, and you need to let yourself be seen, be witnessed going through this process. Men and women desperately need community. We really, really, really need that. And so do what you have to do in order to get access to the support that you need, to get access to the education that you need. And I would really encourage you to notice how different teachers make you feel in your body, because I could teach you about the nervous system and someone else could teach you the exact same material, and you might experience it in a really good way from one of us, and your body might actually be resistant to the other person. That doesn't mean anything bad about you. That is actually just a signal from your body. So learning from people that make you feel connected to, empowered to, and like you are resonating with the intelligence of your body, as opposed to this super clinical way of speaking about the human body, which often makes people feel scared of their symptoms or scared of what's happening. So anyway, I'm going to go eat my lamb, sweet potato, onion, mushroom, beef tallow, hodgepodge with some Parmesan cheese and olive oil drizzled on top, and probably some Canadian maple syrup.